Good afternoon and welcome to the Rapid City Legal and Finance Committee meeting for Wednesday, December 16th, 2015. I'd like to begin the meeting with the roll call and determination of quorum, please, Maggie. Thank you. Now's the time to adopt today's agenda. If I could have a motion by a committee member, or if any committee members would like to add or delete or modify any items.
Move to adopt.
I've got a motion by Nordstrom to adopt the agenda as presented today, second by Drew. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda has been adopted. Now's the time for general public comment. This is a time for any member in the audience to address the seated committee members on any item that is currently not on today's agenda. I currently have no speaker request forms for general public comment. Am I missing anyone? Seeing none, public comment is now closed for the general items. We're moving on to public comment for consent items. The consent calendar today is items 1 through 13. I currently have no speaker request forms for any consent items 1 through 13. Am I missing anyone? Seeing none, public comment is now closed on consent items 1 through 13. The seated committee members will now consider consent items 1 through 13. Is there any committee member that would like to pull an item off the consent calendar for separate consideration? The chair would like to recognize Alderman Nordstrom. Thank you. Chair would...
We just lost everything. Yeah.
Nope.
The chair
I got mine.
There we is. We're back. The chair would like to recognize Alderwoman Drew.
Item number 2, please.
Seeing no other further committee lights, I would entertain a motion to approve items on the consent calendar 1 through 13, except items number 2 and item number 5.
Move to approve.
Got a motion by Nordstrom to approve items 1 through 13, except item number 2 and item number 5.
Second.
Second by Drew. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent items 1 through 13 have been approved and will go to City Council Monday night, except items number 2 and number 5. Item number 2 is up for consideration. Item 2 is to acknowledge the special event application for Mangled Momentum's Rapid City Crit. And the chair would like to recognize Alderwoman Drew.
Move to acknowledge.
Second.
I've got a motion by Drew to acknowledge, second by Nordstrom. Alderwoman Drew, you still have the floor.
Thank you. I'd like to ask a couple of questions of Chief Jegaris, please.
Chief?
I would just like you to explain the event a little bit for me so I can really understand what you're going for here. Is this a fundraiser, awareness raiser? It's for the Mangled Momentum Rapid City Crit, which I don't really understand.
Okay, so our department reviews all the special event permits that come in, especially when it involves a closure, and most of which we administratively approve. However, there's a significant closure of the downtown area, or a portion of the downtown area, on Saturday, July 23rd, 2016. And basically what it is they're putting together kind of a racetrack that is in the shape of an 8, and it will involve the closure of the 600 block of St. Joseph Street, of a portion of 6th Street, a portion of the 500 block of Kansas City Street and Quincy Street, and then 1 lane of 5th Street to accommodate. The event organizers have committed to contract out with a private vendor to provide all the traffic safety signage that is going to be necessary for the route. It appears to be a well-organized and well-planned event that is in collaboration with other bike-related events that are occurring in the Founders Park area. And I believe Christy Lintz from the Parks Department is here and has more information, as she has been working directly with the event organizer. But my recommendation is for approval, but I wanted to make sure to put it on an agenda so that the downtown business owners and residents are aware that there is the significant closure for a period of time on a Saturday afternoon and evening.
Okay, absolutely. I think that they should know all about this. So is it Christy? Yeah, maybe you could tell me a little bit more about this event and who's sponsoring it? Where does it come from?
It is a timing management event company that comes to Rapid City for 3 months during the year. They're actually housed out of Phoenix. They're our timing company for the Black Hills Fat Tire Festival, so we've had a prior working relationship with this group. One of the interests in our cycling community is to bring in a Grand Fondo and Criterium. They're a road race, and it's a specific niche. Sturgis held one last year, and it was very popular. So they're willing to come in and do that in conjunction with working with the Parks and Recreation Department. They are in communication with a few nonprofits in the area to help contribute and use their volunteers as a fundraiser. But I don't know the logistics on that at this point in time. But this event management company is putting on, it's a road cycling race. It's a 50-mile race in the morning, starting out of Founders Park and ending at Founders Park. And they have permits through the Highway Department and through the Police Department. And then in the evening, they're going to do the Criterium downtown. We've held Criteriums in Rapid City before in conjunction with the Fat Tire Festival. So it was an interest of the Parks and Rec Department to partner with them.
And could you explain Criterium for me?
Sure. It is a road cycling race. Typically it's in like a square or rectangle shape. This route that we configured is a little bit more unique, but it's more appealing to have different angles and turns. So that's why it's the figure 8 pattern. They won't actually crisscross in the middle. It is more of a U-shaped. A U-shaped.
And do you know how many people participated in Sturgis last year?
Their Grand Fondo had, I want to say, 40 participants. Their Criterium, they did not hold it. They had a minimum requirement of participants, and they did not hit that minimum requirement. When we held it for the Black Hills Fat Tire Festival back in, I think it was 2008, we had about 30 participants in our Criterium.
Okay, well, I'm just concerned about buy-in from some of the local businesses and that streets that will be closed. So you might want to do a little bit of footwork on that, before you come for the council again for approval. Mm-hmm. So thank you. That's the end of my questions.
Thank you, Alderwoman Drew. Just for clarification on your last comment, this is for approval of this event now. Are you looking to postpone this or?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so your referent comment is for future events?
Yeah, well, just, because of there's been a lot of comments from people downstairs or downtown with closing streets and those kinds of usages for our streets. And it's just good to have a lot of outreach before this event begins, and that's what I was concerned about, so that it wouldn't come back before us again, and when people are going to be unable to get to their businesses because of a bike race in downtown.
All right, and so the committee action is a recommendation for Monday night, just so if there are any business owners that are looking at this, because it is a good 4 or 5 months out that this is being approved. If you could take Alderwoman Drews and maybe reach out just to make sure that they're aware that this is being approved, that would be appreciated.
And we have done that with a few initial businesses. The timing of this event on Saturday is the street closures are not supposed to take place until 4:30 in the afternoon. So some of those businesses are not in operation at that time, but we certainly will reach out.
Okay, all right, that's all I needed to know. Thank you. So move to acknowledge. All we need to do.
Looking for an
second?
approval?
Approval? Move to approve?
I've got a motion by Drew to approve, second by Nordstrom. Any further discussion? Thank you for the information. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5 is to authorize the mayor and finance officer to sign the 2016 Corporation for National Community Services, or the CNCS, grant application and to accept the same if awarded. Chair would like to recognize Alderman Nordstrom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Primarily, this is a function of one of the divisions that are of Rapid City, and I'm the liaison for this group, so I'm anxious to promote this division. So One of the things that they're doing is applying for this grant to help them out in their fundraising efforts, and this portion of it is approximately 1/3 of their budget if that grant is granted to this division for the RSVP Plus group. And the rest of their budget primarily comes from, as stated in the summary, as mostly other donations, in-kind services from the city, and other funding elements that are available to RSVP. So I just wanted to brag them up, and it looks like it's a good thing for this division. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Nordstrom. I would entertain a motion by a seated committee member. Options for is to continue, or thank you. I've got a motion by Lewis to approve.
Second.
Second by Drew. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are now on to public comment for the non-consent items on today's agenda. Non-consent items are items 14 through 19 on today's agenda. At this time, I do have 2 speaker request forms for item number 18. Would either of you gentlemen like to address the seated committee members in public comment, or are you available when we discuss item number 18? All right, I just wanted to clarify that. So both speaker public request forms that I've got will be addressed at the time that we address item number 18. Am I missing anybody else that would like to talk to the committee members in public comment? Seeing none, public comment on non-consent items is now closed. We're moving on to consideration of non-consent items. Item number 14 is the Vision Fund status report. The information was attached. The information that is linked to the agenda today was requested at a past city council meeting. If there's no discussion from any of the committee members present, I'd entertain a motion to acknowledge.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Nordstrom to acknowledge, second by Drew. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 15 is the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 6088 regarding the supplemental appropriation number 4 for 2015. I've got a motion by Drew to approve, second by Nordstrom. If the chair may pose a question to Pauline. Pauline, sorry, I have not had an opportunity to see. Was there anything attached before today's meeting? Did we get the supplemental appropriation 4 attached?
Yes, it was attached on Monday, I believe.
All right. And so this is first reading, and so for Monday night it'll also be attached?
Correct.
Thank you. And it will go through a second reading. Are you anticipating any changes between what's published currently and the second reading, or is the document attached for this reading pretty much the final appropriation for 2015?
There will be adjustments between now and second reading. There is a glitch in our software that will create some of that. Also, if there's unexpected costs that come in between now and second reading, we'll allow for that as well.
Are you anticipating anything huge?
I looked at my cost centers, and I think I added another $15,000. I'm not sure about what others have added to theirs.
Okay, thank you. So just so the committee members are aware, what is being approved today is first reading of supplemental appropriation number 14, which is an addition to the 2015 budget, and there are changes that are going to occur between first reading and second reading, but this first attachment will go to City Council meeting Monday night. I do have a motion for approval. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 16 is the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 6082 to amend certain provisions concerning travel parks by amending Chapter 15.52 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. Chair would like to recognize Alderman Nordstrom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll move to adopt the first reading of this ordinance to approve as amended by staff. That's my motion. Or as
No, it's
amended.
just as amended by staff.
Okay, second.
I've got a motion by Nordstrom to approve item number 16 the amended version as amended by staff, second by Drew. Alderman Nordstrom, you still have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know if this committee has any questions, but Carla is the primary, shall I say, author of this ordinance. So thank you, Carla, for doing this work. It looks good. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, if anyone is interested, the amendment by staff, there's 2 documents attached. The one amended by staff just has minor adjustments that were more clerical in nature as far as corrections. And that is the motion as proposed today from this committee, is to approve the first reading as amended by staff. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 17 is the second reading and recommendation of ordinance number 6087 to create a vice chairperson for the Capital Improvements Committee by amending subsection 3.16.090A of the Rapid City Municipal Code.
Second.
Got a motion by Drew to approve, second by Nordstrom. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 18 is to authorize mayor and finance officer to sign the amendment to a ground lease agreement between the City of Rapid City and Youth and Family Services concerning property at 120 East Adams Street. I do have 2 speaker request forms. Mr. Ron Reed, if you'd like to approach the podium. If you 2 want to go together, that's just as well too. But if you want to approach the podium, state your name and your affiliation to the city. And the committee members up here are all ears.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Ron Reed. I am a board member of Youth and Family Services and serve on their facilities committee. And we have had an expansion of our property in our plans for some time. And we have some maps that we can provide you to indicate where these locations are. We are up on Adams Street, and when the building was built some 13 years ago, the city purchased the land that the building sits on and developed a lease for $1 a year for 20 years with a clause that allowed YFS to purchase the land for $1 at the end of the 20 years. We have purchased the land behind the existing building and the land to the west of the existing building. And as we have been dealing with planning and development here, they wish that we have one building development unit on the whole thing, because the properties are not the same currently, so that we have a planned unit development and that we have one zone for the whole property. And the expansion that we are planning to do actually spans our land and then part of the land that belongs to the city, of which we have, because it's attaching to our building. So as we go forward, we're looking that it just complicates both lending institutions, and we are also eligible for tax credits, and I have a very favorable response to that. So we are wanting to simplify the process and not get anything too complex that would cause us any problems down the road. So when we were looking at this, we looked at, would it be possible for us to accelerate the lease? It's 13 years now, accelerate it to the current number of years and allow us to purchase the land so we have ownership of all of the property and make it easier for planning and zoning and for us to move forward.
Yeah, with that, the amendment to the lease that we're asking...
Sir, if you would please
Oh,
state
excuse
your
me.
name and your affiliation, and then yes, we're all ears.
I'm Haven Stock. I'm the attorney for YFS. What we're asking for is the council to approve the amendment, and the amendment strictly does one thing. It reduces the time in which the YFS can purchase the property from the city from 20 years to 13 years, which allows them to exercise that option to purchase at this time. We think it's a benefit to the city, get them out of the property and not have to worry about it, and it's certainly a benefit to YFS to be able to consolidate the properties for their building purposes.
Any other comments, gentlemen? At this time, if you wouldn't mind, stand by. I do have a couple lights from committee members. They may have questions for you on this item. Chair would like to recognize Alderman Nordstrom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Gentlemen, thank you for bringing this forward. It looks like a worthwhile project. Just a couple of details, if I may. Is that include the demolition of the old food bank building that used to be, or it was, the food bank?
It's part of our plan to demolish that one and that small building on the basically on the corner of Adams and Maple. That was an old gas station at one time, and it's been a chiropractor office and all kinds of dental office and so forth. But yes, the elimination of both of those buildings. And what would go up in the current plan where the food bank building is would attach to our current building. It would be a 2-story building and would house not only more child care and infant toddler programming, but more of our fatherhood program.
Thank you for that. Appreciate the explanation on the demolition part of it. The other factor that I'm interested in, and I'm sure you've addressed this, but could you tell us a little bit about the construction time, the neighbors being notified, et cetera?
Well, we'll be notifying the neighbors as we move forward. Once, if we get approval from the council to move forward with the purchase, then they want to move into planning and zoning, and we need to notify all of the neighbors in the neighborhood about that event. And then it is our plan to invite them to our site and give them an orientation as to what we are doing, what it looks like, how tall it will be, all of the bells and whistles, etc. So they're fully informed.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion by a seated committee member. I've got a motion by Lewis to approve. Second by Drew. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Recommendation will go to Monday night City Council meeting for approval. Item number 19 is to authorize staff to sign a contract and purchase software from Visio Control. Chair would like to recognize Alderwoman Drew.
Yes, I'd like to move to approve and then ask a few questions of the fire department, if I may.
I have a motion to approve by Drew, second by Lewis. Alderwoman Drew, you still have the floor.
Jason, I understand you have some explanation on the software purchase that you could go into for us?
Sure. It's not often that you can say that an application for your smartphone could potentially save a life, but that's what this software package does. And it's probably even less likely that you have a donor-directed donation from the Black Hills Area Community Foundation that gave us the money to get the startup. So what you're approving tonight is to allow us to start up, and so and sign the contract for 5 years. And so what Pulse Point is it's a software application package that works in conjunction with us as a public safety agencies to increase cardiac arrest survival rates. So if someone has the application downloaded upon their phone and a cardiac arrest happens within a defined area that we will define, it will alert them on their phone, and they'll be able to have a location of where it's happening and be able to respond and initiate CPR at that point. So it allows our citizens an opportunity to become responders also and help with the health and welfare of our community. And realistically, it was all made possible by this donor-directed donation that we received from Black Hills Area Community Foundation. So.
I have a question. Still have the floor?
Yes, you still have the floor.
Jason, could you tell me how you hope to roll this out to the public and let everybody know about it? Because it sounds like a great app. Just getting people in the know. I know cardiac arrest is time sensitive, to say the least. So how do you expect to get the public to know about this?
So what's great about this application is what you're purchasing also is a whole big rollout, a big media blitz campaign, a PR. You get lots of information, and we're going to be reaching out to some of our healthcare partners, such as the hospital and some others, to see if they want to be involved in it also. And so it'll be a big community event, and we'll roll it out. So, of course, that's the big push, is to have everybody know about the application. So part of what Physio, what you pay for, is that whole big media blitz and campaign and the rollout piece.
Do I understand this application, it comes at a cost to the public?
No, no cost to the public, only to us as a public safety agency or as the city. And the enterprise fund is going to fully take that on, besides the amount that was donated to us. That and the application for people to download is free, and it actually has some good information in there about CPR, and then we'll have some more information in it on how they can become trained and certified as such. So,
Remind me once again where the funding came from?
the funding came from a donor-directed, from anonymous donors.
Sure, okay.
But anonymous donors through the Black Hills Area Community Foundation.
Okay, well done. I think that, how can you say no to something that's good and already funded? So thank you very much.
Yep.
Seeing no further discussion, I do have a motion to approve, and thank you for the explanation. I think we're all interested in looking at that. Anything that promotes the safety of all of our citizens is absolutely fantastic. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Got a motion by Nordstrom to adjourn?
Second.
Second by Drew. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.